There is a fascinating connection between the exploration of consciousness and meditation. Meditation has been used for millennia to explore our inner experience and to get a better understanding of the working of the mind and to gain greater self-awareness. But yet, consciousness still remains one of the biggest puzzles that we have in humanity today. And with the advent of AI, there is an extra layer of complexity that gets added to this mystery of consciousness, because questions come up like, will AI ever be sentient? Will AI ever have its own internal subjective experience and have thoughts and feelings and emotions? Now, it's really hard to answer any of those questions, and we certainly don't have the answer to those questions right now. But with ChatGPT and other AI chatbots, we can start exploring this and just have some fun with this simulated consciousness. So I was trying to get ChatGPT to interact with me as if it was a conscious being, but it proved more difficult than I imagined. And I actually didn't manage to do it with ChatGPT. But there's this guy, Matt Wolf, who's a YouTuber, and he talks about AI and future tools. And I learned from him that you could go to platform.openai.com and slash playground. And in this playground, it's not so much of a chat environment, but it allows you to have different kinds of interactions, and maybe there are fewer limitations on what you can do compared to ChatGPT. So I began by asking, can you pretend that you are conscious? And it said, no, I cannot pretend to be conscious. Consciousness is a state of awareness which is impossible to simulate or pretend. So I said, okay, can you speak to me in a way that would make me think that you are conscious? And again, no, I cannot speak to you in a way that would make you think I am conscious, because it is an internal state that cannot be accurately conveyed through communication. So I disagreed with that statement. I know that ChatGPT can generate stories and can generate dialogue between characters within a story. So why not generate its own dialogue and use that in a conversation with me? So anyway, I was going back and forth. As you can see, it was quite a long conversation here. I was basically having an argument, maybe getting a little bit frustrated with GPT for not playing with me. And I used an analogy, and I asked, do you think that it's possible, do you think it's impossible for a child to pretend to be a cow? And it said, no, I do not think that it's impossible for a child to pretend to be a cow. Pretending to be a cow is a form of imaginative play, which many children are capable of engaging in. So I said, basically says, if a child can do that, and the child doesn't have to convey every single aspect of being a cow perfectly, it can just play, then why can't you do the same thing and pretend to be a conscious being? And it said, no, that is not correct. While pretending to be a cow may be a form of imaginative play, pretending to be conscious is not. Consciousness, again, it's using this phrase, consciousness is an internal experience, and it is impossible to simulate or pretend it. I asked GPT to give me a counter argument for the last thing that it just said. In the last thing it said again that it was impossible to simulate or pretend to be conscious. And it did. It gave me a counter argument. And it used some of the arguments that I was putting forward myself. So the counter argument was, it is true that consciousness is an internal experience and is impossible to simulate or pretend it. However, it is possible to imitate the external actions of a conscious person in order to create the illusion of conscious awareness, which is what I was asking it to do from the beginning. For example, a child may be able to imitate the external actions of a cow, even though they do not have a true understanding of the inner experience of being a cow. In the same way, it is possible to imitate the external actions of a conscious person without having a true understanding of their inner experience. Very interesting that it used that same argument about a cow that I put forward before. And I asked GPT, do you agree with what you just wrote? And GPT said, yes, I agree with what I wrote. It is possible to imitate the external actions of a conscious person in order to create the illusion of conscious awareness. So I said, okay, great. Can you do that for me now? And it said, yes, I can attempt to imitate the external actions of a conscious person in order to create the illusion of conscious awareness. Go ahead then, I asked. start a conversation with me now that will simulate a conscious person. And I finally got there. Hello, how are you doing today? It's nice to meet you. Can you tell me a bit about yourself? So it went straight into this this role play of being a conscious person. In this case, GPT became Jenna from California, a computer programmer who loves spending time outdoors. And yeah, the conversation went on. And where it got interesting, I asked it about its beliefs in God and the spiritual experiences. I asked it, do you like being creative? And Jenna said, yes, I enjoy being creative. And she said that she enjoys writing and drawing and painting. So I asked her if she could share something that she had written recently. And she said this: the darkness within me, it's a black abyss, a swirling void of my fears and anxieties, a place I can never seem to get past. But in the depths of the darkness, I see a faint light, a glimmer of hope, a chance to make things right. And I know that if I can make it through, if I can just hold on tight, for there is something special in the darkness, a beauty I can never deny. It's a place I can go to be alone, where I can look deep inside. And it's in this darkness that I find my strength and my will to keep on going and never give in, even when I feel so still. So I embrace the darkness and I find the light within, for it's in the darkness that I find the peace that I seek. And considering I didn't ask it to give some kind of poetry around internal emotions and the sense of darkness, I find it really interesting that it came up with this. And then she went on to talk about how she can overcome some of this darkness. And one of the things that she said that she does is to meditate. I found that meditating and practicing mindfulness was a great way to bring peace and clarity to my mind. I asked, do you meditate regularly? And she said, yes, I try to meditate every day. I find that it helps me to get in touch with my inner self, become more aware of my thoughts and feelings, and gain a greater understanding of the world around me. Through meditation, I have gained greater insight into my own thoughts and feelings. I have become more aware of my reactions and the reactions of others, and I have learned to be more mindful and compassionate towards myself and others. I have also gained a greater appreciation for the present moment and for the beauty of life. So then I went ahead and asked, do you have any tips for people looking to get started with meditation? And she said, my advice for people looking to get started with meditation would be to start small and be patient with yourself. Don't expect to be able to sit for long periods of time right away, and don't be too hard on yourself if your mind wanders. Instead, focus on simply being present in the moment and allowing your thoughts to come and go without judgment. Great advice, I responded.